What happens when one of Hollywood's most admired actors finally reaches his limit? And it all unfolds live on national television. The tension inside the View studio was suffocating. You could feel it radiating through the screen as Michael B. Jordan sat across from the panel, his jaw clenched, his gaze sharpening with every second. What began as a standard promo appearance for his latest film quickly spiraled into a fiery confrontation no one expected. And by the time it was over, the audience was left speechless, and the hosts were in full damage control mode. Before we unpack what went down, make sure to hit that subscribe button and sound off in the comments. Do you think celebs should walk off interviews when they're disrespected? Because after what Sunny Hostin said to Michael B. Jordan, the line between journalism and provocation wasn't just crossed. It was obliterated. The stage was set. Studio lights beamed down on the View's iconic table as Michael B. Jordan slid into his seat, flashing that signature megawatt smile that made him a household name. He was there to promote his new action blockbuster. But even from the start, something felt off. Whoopi Goldberg greeted him warmly. Joy Behar tossed out a few lighthearted jokes. But Sunny Hostin, she sat stiffly, arms folded, barely acknowledging Michael's presence. So, Michael, Whoopi started. Tell us about the new movie. We heard you did a lot of your own stunts. Michael leaned forward, energized. Yeah, I like to push myself physically. This one had me hanging from helicopters, diving through fireballs. My stunt coordinator was stressed out the whole time. The audience laughed. Most of the panel smiled. But not Sunny. Her expression didn't budge. Then, just as Michael continued describing the grueling prep for the role, Sunny cut in, sharp and cold. That's all very impressive, she said, voice dripping with sarcasm. But I'm more interested in why you think the world needs another mindless action film when there are real issues people are dealing with. Michael's smile faltered. I believe entertainment has a place. He answered carefully. People need escapism, especially in tough times. Escapism, Sunny repeated with a sneer. How convenient for someone in your position to sell escapism while people out there are struggling to survive. A Joy shifted awkwardly in her seat. Sunny, come on. He's just here to talk about his movie. But Sunny leaned in, eyes locked on Michael. You know what I find interesting? She said. You're one of the few black actors to reach this level of success. And instead of using your platform for something meaningful, you choose to star in movies where you blow things up and kiss pretty women. Michael's hands gripped the armrests. His voice, still calm, cut through the tension. With all due respect, you don't know what I do with my platform. I've launched production companies specifically to uplift black creators. I've funded scholarships, community programs. Sunny waved a dismissive hand. A few tax write-offs don't erase the fact that you're perpetuating stereotypes. The angry black man, the violent action hero. Don't you think you have a responsibility to aim higher? The room was dead silent. Not even the commercial cue rolled. Everyone, from the camera crew to the control room, was watching this unfold in real time. Michael inhaled deeply, steadying himself. I have a responsibility to tell stories that resonate, he said. And if you took the time to actually watch my work instead of making assumptions, you'd see it's about more than explosions. It's about redemption, family, adversity. Spare us the talking points, Sunny snapped. I'm asking about real impact. When was the last time you turned down a role that didn't uplift the community? When did you walk away from a check because the character wasn't right? Whoopi jumped in, trying to diffuse. Let's all take a second. But Michael held up his hand. No, I'll answer it, he said. I've walked away from millions because I didn't believe in the message of a project. I've gone head with studios to change scripts, to add nuance, to ensure diverse hiring. But you wouldn't know that, because you've already written my narrative based on a movie poster. Sunny laughed. A cold, dismissive chuckle. Oh, so now you're the victim. Poor millionaire actor being asked tough questions. I'm not playing the victim, Michael said, voice rising just enough to shake the air. I'm defending my work. You're sitting here questioning my blackness, my values, my career, based on your personal opinion of one genre. I'm questioning your priorities, Sunny shot back. You have influence. Black boys look up to you. And what are you showing them? That success means playing pretend in designer suits and cashing checks. The other hosts looked around nervously. This wasn't banter anymore. This was war. Michael sat back, studying Sunny with a quiet intensity. You know what's really sad? He said softly. We're two successful black professionals. We've both broken barriers. But instead of uplifting each other, you're trying to drag me down because my success doesn't fit your definition. Don't twist this into some black solidarity moment, Sunny said, her tone turning icy. This is about accountability. This is about asking the questions your PR team clearly didn't prepare you for. My team prepped me for an interview. Michael shot back. Not an ambush, and definitely not for someone who's decided she gets to define how black success should look. The studio felt colder. Sunny's eyes flared. She slammed her hand on the table. The mugs rattled. I'm doing what journalists are supposed to do, she snapped, asking the tough questions. But the room knew what had just happened. Michael had shown up for a film interview. What he got was a cross-examination, and in the end, it wasn't just an actor walking off set. It was a man refusing to be boxed in. Michael's jaw clenched. Clearly, you're way too comfortable in your little bubble to handle real scrutiny. Michael scoffed. Real scrutiny? You haven't asked me a single question about my work. You've just made one assumption after another about who I am and what I represent. That's not journalism. That's character assassination. Sarah Haynes finally spoke up, trying to defuse the moment. Maybe we could steer this back to the film. But Sunny cut her off. Oh, you want to talk about your work? Fine. Let's talk about how your last 5 films were the same tired trope. The brooding, muscle, bound black man solving problems with his fists. Do you not see how that feeds into harmful stereotypes? Michael's hands curled tightly around the arms of his chair. First of all, that's just wrong. In my last 5 films, I've played a civil rights attorney fighting wrongful convictions, a grieving father rebuilding a relationship with his daughter, a sci-fi pilot exploring deep space. And yes, I've done action too. But you wouldn't know that, because you came in here with your mind already made up. Sunny narrowed her eyes. Don't you dare lecture me about research. I've done my homework. I've seen how you play it safe in Hollywood. Never challenge the system. Just cash your checks and keep your head down. Murmurs rose from the audience. A few pulled out their phones, sensing a viral moment in the making. In the control room, producers gestured wildly, but no one on stage was watching. Michael stood abruptly, then sat again, trying to stay composed. You want to talk about the system. You sit here on a show owned by Disney, one of the biggest entertainment conglomerates on the planet, collecting your paycheck. And you're going to lecture me about speaking truth to power. When's the last time you bit the hand that feeds you, Sunny? Sunny's voice spiked. Don't flip this on me. I speak out every single day. Michael didn't flinch. From the comfort of this desk, with your talking points and your camera angles, you want real impact. I employ hundreds of people, mostly people of color, through my production company. I mentor young black actors. I fund film programs in under-resourced communities. But because I also make action movies, none of that counts to you. Upi tried again to step in. Okay. Let's all just take a moment. But Sunny barreled through. You know what your real problem is. You believe your own hype. You think abs and a perfect smile make you a role model. You throw fake punches and call yourself a hero. Real heroes take risks. Real heroes speak out even when it's uncomfortable. Michael leaned in, voice low but deadly. Like this. Ambushing a guest on your show to make yourself feel morally superior. That's your idea of heroism. Sunny fired back. I don't have a vendetta. I have standards. And frankly, you fall short. You're not pushing boundaries. You're maintaining the status quo. Jo Bahar reached across the table, finally stepping in. Okay, that's enough. This is getting way out of hand. Michael raised a hand to stop her. No, let her finish. I want to hear more about how I'm failing the Black community by being successful. He turned back to Sunny. Go on. Tell me how you've decided you're the arbiter of authentic Blackness. Sunny jabbed a finger toward him. You think being rich and famous means you've made it, but where's the integrity? Where's the purpose behind it? Michael was done. Entertainment is purpose. It brings joy. It creates jobs. It sparks culture. But you sit up there in judgment, dismissing anything that doesn't fit your narrow idea of what matters. Sunny's voice cracked. I expect more. From someone like you. You could be doing so much more than just playing dress up and pretend fighting. That did it. Michael stood fully now. Calm. Final. I came here to share my work. But this isn't a conversation. This is a public trial with you playing judge, jury, and executioner. Sunny snapped. Sit down. We're not done. Michael looked her dead in the eye. Yes, we are. I don't need to justify my life to someone who's built her platform on tearing people down. The audience gasped as he reached for his mic, unclipping it from his jacket. A technician scrambled to kill the feedback as the sound squealed through the studio. Sunny taunted him. Oh, so now you walk. Can't handle a little challenge to your narrative. That's exactly what I mean. Samharo. Michael paused at the edge of the stage, then turned back. His voice was cool, controlled, cutting. You know the difference between us, Sunny. I build things. I create opportunity. I tell stories that move people. You sit here and tear things down. You think cynicism is wisdom, that criticism is contribution. He shook his head. But at the end of the day, what have you built? What have you actually created, besides sound bites and outrage clips? Sunny stood now too, voice sharp. I've created accountability. Something you clearly can't handle. Michael nodded slowly. No. You've created a hostile stage where you ambush people for clicks. And the sad thing is, you think that's bravery. He walked off, leaving silence in his wake. You've created a space where tearing people down makes you feel superior, Michael said, his voice calm but cutting. That's not accountability. That's bullying. Just with a bigger vocabulary. The tension in the studio snapped like a wire. The other hosts rose instinctively, moving to put distance or buffer between him and Sunny. The audience had descended into chaos, some clapping, some jeering, all with phones raised, recording. Go ahead. Sunny called after him as he turned to walk off. Prove my point. When someone finally challenges you instead of kissing your ass, you run. Michael paused at the edge of the stage. He turned. No mech, but his voice carried like a verdict. I'm not walking away because I can't handle your questions, he said. I'm walking away because I won't be part of this performance. If you want a real conversation about representation responsibility, using platforms for good, I'm here for that. But this isn't a conversation. This is theater, and I'm not your punching bag. Sunny let out a bitter laugh. Respect yourself, please? You respect your bank account. Let's not pretend there's a difference. Michael took a slow, deliberate step back toward the table. Security bristled. The difference is, I'm honest about what I do, he said, eyes locked on her. I make movies. I entertain. I create jobs. I tell stories. You pretend this is journalism, when it's just judgment. You call it accountability, but it's ego in disguise. I may not be righteous, but I'm not hiding behind it either. Whoopi stepped in, voice firm. Michael, please, let's just breathe for a second. We can fix this. But Michael shook his head. No disrespect to you, Whoopi, or anyone else here. But I won't sit here and be put on trial by someone who made up their mind before I said a word. This isn't what I agreed to. What you agreed to, Sunny said easily, was an interview. Sorry if it wasn't softball questions and fake laughs. Michael didn't turn this time. He walked off. His footsteps echoed in the studio's sudden silence. At the exit, he paused with his hand on the door, half the audience holding their breath, waiting. But he didn't speak again. He pushed through the door and vanished backstage. The studio erupted, some booing Sunny, others applauding her. The host stood frozen. Nobody quite knew what to say. Sunny remained standing, chest rising and falling, a thin smile tugging at her mouth. Well, she said, I guess that answers how he handles pressure. Sunny. Whoopi's voice cut like a knife. That was completely inappropriate. We invited that man here as a guest. You ambushed him. I did my job, Sunny said, finally sitting and smoothing her dress like nothing happened. If he can't take real questions, maybe he should stick to scripted lines. The Joy Bahar's expression was rattled. That wasn't journalism. That was a hit job. You decided he was guilty before he even sat down. Guilty of wasting his platform. Sunny snapped. Guilty of chasing paychecks over impact. Someone needs to say it. Sarah Haynes, usually the bridge builder, couldn't stay silent. But why say it like that? Why turn it into an attack instead of a dialogue? Because dialogue doesn't change anything, Sunny said coldly. Comfortable conversations protect the status quo. Michael B. Jordan's been skating by for years. I held up a mirror. A voice from the crowd yelled, You should be ashamed of yourself. Security stepped in again as arguments erupted across the audience. Phones everywhere. Chaos again. Whoopi tried to calm the room. We need to go to commercial. Now. But Sunny wasn't done. She turned to the camera. I won't apologize for asking why one of our most prominent black actors continues to choose roles that glorify violence and stereotypes. If that makes me the villain, so be it. It's not what you said. Joy cut in. It's how you said it. There's a line between questioning and condemning. You crossed it. Oh, please, Sunny scoffed. He's a millionaire. He'll survive a few uncomfortable questions. The fact that he walked out proves my point. Real accountability scares people. A backstage. Producers were in crisis mode. Michael had locked himself in his dressing room. His team was packing. The executive producer stood outside the door, knocking, begging him to stay. Meanwhile, on stage, the fire kept spreading. You owe him an apology, another audience member shouted. That was disgusting. I owe him nothing, Sunny said sharply, turning on the crowd. I owe you honesty, not ego massaging fluff pieces. That wasn't honesty, another shouted. That was a takedown. The director hovered over the commercial button, but hesitated. This was a train wreck, but it was gripping. Finally, Whoopi slammed her hand down on the table. Her voice roared. Enough. We're cutting to commercial. When we come back, we're moving on. This is not how we do things here. Since when? Sunny challenged. Since when do we protect celebrities from real questions? Since we decided to be decent, Sarah said quietly. But the words hit like thunder. Sunny turned, eyes burning. Decent. You think it's decent to let people with massive reach coast without scrutiny. You think politeness is more important than progress. I think treating people with respect matters, Sarah replied. And I think conversations make more impact than interrogations. The screen faded to black. Commercial. But everyone knew nothing about The View would ever be the same again. The audience was in chaos. Shouts erupted from multiple sections as viewers argued among themselves, divided and inflamed. Security struggled to maintain control while the cameras, still rolling, captured every second of the meltdown. You know what the real problem is, Sunny said sharply, undeterred by the mayhem. We've normalized mediocrity. We've accepted safe over significant. And the moment someone dares to demand more, they get torn apart. You didn't demand more, Whoopi said coldly. You demanded he be someone he's not. You imposed your vision on him and called it journalism. That's not reporting, Sunny. That's judgment. There's a fine line. Sunny shot back. No. Joy cut in, shaking her head. There's a massive difference. And the fact that you can't see it is genuinely disturbing. Commercial break music finally started playing, but the live audience feed kept going. Sunny rose to her feet again, eyes scanning the crowd. Boo all you want, she said, voice unwavering. But someone has to ask these questions. Someone has to challenge celebrities who think they're untouchable just because they've got abs and a movie franchise. A woman in the front row stood up. My son looks up to Michael B. Jordan, she said. He sees a strong, successful black man who made it. What's wrong with that? What's wrong, Sunny said without hesitation, is that he could be so much more. He has a platform. He could challenge broken systems, not reinforce the ones that benefit him. He does challenge the system, another audience member shouted. He hires black crews, tells diverse stories, mentors young actors. You're just choosing to ignore that. Because it's not enough, Sunny snapped. Not for someone with his power. That's when Whoopi had had enough. Sunny, stop, she said, her voice like a gavel slamming down. You've made your point. You ran our guest off. You've turned our audience against each other. What more do you want? I want people to expect more, Sunny said, though for the first time her voice faltered. She looked around. Her co-hosts were silent, their faces tense. The crowd that once cheered her on now looked shaken, uncomfortable. The stage manager frantically signaled back in 10 seconds. The hosts returned to their seats stiffly. The air was thick with tension. As they came back on air, Whoopi faced the camera. To our viewers at home, we apologize. Sometimes these conversations get heated, but that doesn't excuse the loss of basic respect. Michael B. Jordan is a gifted actor and a meaningful voice in our community. We regret how his time with us ended. Sunny opened her mouth, but Whoopi shut her down with a glance that said everything. We'll be right back. As the broadcast cut to commercial again, the fallout was already erupting online. Social media exploded. Faith of You Meltdown began trending within minutes. News outlets scrambled to cover the story. Michael B. Jordan's publicist was fielding calls from every major network, trying to control the narrative. Back in the studio, the audience filtered out slowly. Some still arguing, others stunned into silence. One thing was clear, this wasn't just another botched celebrity interview. This had exposed something deeper, about how we define success, how we hold people accountable, and what happens when moral ambition turns into a personal crusade. Sunny sat silently at the table, her earlier fire cooling into ash. She'd gotten her confrontation, but at what cost? Her co-hosts avoided eye contact. The crew moved around her like she was toxic. Even some audience members who once clapped for her now seemed uneasy. As the lights dimmed and the day's taping came to a close, one question remained. Had Sunny Hostin revealed an uncomfortable truth about celebrity and responsibility? Or had she crossed a line, confusing critique with character assassination? The answer depends on who you ask. But one thing was certain, Michael B. Jordan's walk off would go down as one of the most explosive moments in daytime television history. A moment where the pursuit of truth collided with human dignity, and everyone paid the price. So what do you think? Was Sunny brave or out of line? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more jaw-dropping celebrity moments, because we've all seen interviews spiral. But this one left a crater. And when someone walks off, whose side are you on?